Hi, I kind of thought that this was going to be a different video, so I've started that a little bit. And I have clips of spring and flowers here and there. I'm going to include those. I was expecting with that to make a video reading The Blythes Are Quoted by Ellen Montgomery. Brief backstory on that one. Montgomery finished this publication right before her death. It was published in abridged form as The Road to Yesterday. Then it wasn't until 2008, 2009 that it was rebranded. The editor in this book talks about going through the old manuscripts and adding back in these short stories and these poems. So I made it about 146 pages and I am putting it on pause for now. It kind of was the perfect spring book, but the short stories feel very lacking. I've never read Montgomery short stories before, and I know a lot of people do not really like this one, and some people question whether or not she actually wrote it. So I will say I'm loving the poems in here, and I love some of the modernist elements that she's experimenting with that she started with in Anne of Ingleside. I'm loving seeing that, but the short stories just generally aren't her best work and aren't very strong. And I decided I just needed something light and cleansing and easy to read. And what did I dive back into? I dove back into the journals. So I'm starting journal number 4. This has high potential to be my favorite of all of the journals. We started out on a trip to Prince Edward Island. She's now back. In this one, she writes A Tangled Web and the Pat series, which I don't know too much about, but I now want to read after reading this introduction. And then she also goes back and revisits Anne. So I'd heard that she rewrote some new Anne stories and Windy Poplars and Anne of Ingleside because her readers wanted more Anne. Well, there's more going on there, as is usually the case. It was the Great Depression and she needed money to fund her son's education. So that's really why she turned back to Anne. I read the introduction. I'm into the second year of this journal. The first year of the journal was split, but I'm into the first full year so far. In the introduction, it says her Anne books, are going out of style, going out of favor with the new modernist movement. So they're seen as sentimental and they're no longer popular. And I think that says a lot about why it took so long for Montgomery to be recognized, because this movement immediately after she's writing Anne, her books kind of get shuttled to the wayside a little bit. And I think that's so unfair too, because towards the end of her career in Anne of Ingleside and The Blythes Are Quoted, she does start experimenting with that modernist style. Unfortunately, she doesn't have a chance to really hone that in or write anything that's completely modernist, but she was experimenting and interested in that. I haven't gotten into all of that yet, but like I said, I really do want to check out A Tangled Web and the Pat series. Now May, and I decided for the first time to participate in Mashed Potato May. If you don't follow Books Unbound, every May they read books that they've been meaning to get to and they haven't. So they made a little bingo. I'll put it up on the screen. And it's only 4 squares. And I'm like, there's actually something I want to read for each of these squares that I really need to get to. So we're going to do that. First one, read a classic mashed potato. Of course, I had to put in If Beale Street Could Talk for the Baldwin Book Club by none other than James Baldwin. Spoiler alert, I have already finished this one. I'm going to share a few more thoughts. One was highly anticipated for me, and I didn't really like it. This is bottom tier Baldwin for me, and I'm sorry. Next on there is watch a mashed potato movie. I'm so bad at watching movies. If you ask me if I've seen a movie, I don't know why you're asking me, because I haven't seen it. I made a video almost 5 years ago now. Last Christmas, I read Dune, and I was listening to the audiobook and I was like racing through trying to finish it before the first movie came out. So the second movie, I don't know how long it's been now, but Ryan and I have been meaning to watch it forever at this point. And it's been so long that the third movie is actually coming out this year. So now is the time. It is our time. So we have begun on that process, and Friday night we watched the first movie. I needed to get back up to speed. Watching it, I probably could have just jumped into 2, but I wanted to watch all of them. So later this month, we're gonna watch number 2. It's gonna happen. Next up, they're helping us out. Read your shortest mashed potato. This is The Shawl. It's by Cynthia Ozick. I picked this up as a little birthday book, little treat to myself. Back when I first moved here, I think it was my bar exam birthday, but it's been several years, and this is by far my shortest mashed potato book. It comes in at a whopping 70 pages. Have not started this one yet. It's probably going to be the last one of the mashed potato May situation. And the final one is read a favorite book of a loved one. Every time I ask Ryan what his favorite book is, and I have read a couple of them, but I haven't read all of them yet. Every time I ask Ryan, Tintin. Hands down, it's Tintin by Herge. I've read one of these. This is the one Ryan picked out for me and recommended for this reading challenge this month. It's volume 6 in the collected ones, and he picked this one because all 3 of them go together and talk to each other. So I read Destination Moon this morning, and it's just cute. It's fun. It's wholesome. I really enjoyed it. I love Snowy. Snowy's my favorite character. Back to Baldwin, I do want to say a little bit more about If Beale Street Could Talk. It's a good book. I can see why it is so popular. I would say of the ones we've read so far that it is Baldwin's most conventional novel. The storytelling is pretty linear compared to some of his other ones. The biggest thing that threw me off is this one is told in first person, and maybe his first one, Go Tell It on the Mountain, was first person, but the remainder of his works have been in third person, and you really get to get in the heads of these various characters and follow them around. The first person in this, it really doesn't work. We have multiple characters, and we're getting into multiple people's heads. And at one point, there's some very important plot points going on with Tish's mom. Our main character, Tish, is the first person narration. And it is so awkward. It is such awkward storytelling. And the mom is separate and she goes somewhere. Baldwin writes it. If there wasn't that extra Tish layer, it would have been much better. It would have been much stronger. It's very well written and done, and then you just have, my mom told me, or I remember my mom said, and then it's weird because then there's this extra element of irreality because it's a hearsay at this point. So we have all these massive, just huge hearsay sections, and it just doesn't work. I'm sorry, but it doesn't work. I know a lot of people really love this one. That was my biggest critique and my biggest problem with it for Baldwin particularly. And this is what I find so hard with reading authors in their entirety, because you're constantly comparing them to themselves. And that's a really tough thing to do if they want to try something different, or maybe they're working on a different element in this story. I would still highly recommend it, and I think it's a very important book to read right now. It is primarily about the problems with the criminal justice system, particularly the prison system and the American legal system, and I think it's very prevalent right now as well. And after this, we have one Baldwin left, so I'm hoping that the last one really deals with this as well, is Time. And I think he's trying it a little bit, and it is so hard to do in writing, but he's trying to get this layered element and get away from linear time. And that is just really, really hard to do. But I did love his commentary on time, and I liked looking at it from a narrative perspective and how he's telling the story. I also liked he's talking about time as in prison time. And then he also, at the beginning of the story, find out Tish is pregnant. he talks about baby time. There's also this timeless element throughout of the family and the way they're interacting and gathering as being timeless. Love that part. That was the strongest part of the novel for me. I think that if that had carried through a little bit more, this would have been a much stronger book for me. Unfortunately, in the second section, it's actually quite a short novel, which surprised me. The bulk of it is part 1, Troubled About My Soul, and the second part is called Zion. The second part is around 15-20 pages. And in that second part, he brings these two ideas of time back as prison time and baby time. And each paragraph he brings that back, it's like I just needed a little bit more to connect that back, and he could have just had a really solid piece. Like that second part needed to be about 15 pages longer, and the book could have really been tied together and a lot stronger analytically. I would almost go into If Beale Street Could Talk and read it from more of a social, political, and legal lens, and not try to read it from a literary analysis lens. I think that will do yourself a lot of favors, and I think I would have enjoyed it a lot more. I said I really enjoyed Tintin. Destination Moon, Tintin and the captain arrive at a base, a very super secret base, and they meet Professor Calculus, and they are working on building a rocket to go to the moon. And as you can imagine, the next one, Explorers on the Moon, is when they have since made it to the moon. It's funny, it's wholesome. I like the little humorous parts. I'm not a huge fan of slapstick humor, but in here I think it is well done. And I'm just excited to get to the next one. I am gonna read all 3 of these for Mashed Potato May, just because they're so short, and it'd be nice to have a full volume done. I thought we could do a plant tour. We planted this crimson maple last year. His roots were pretty weak, but he came back, he's doing well. His leaves also really got ate by the Japanese beetles last year, but the leaves came back in really nice. And these are the rest of our perennials. Ryan's been doing a really good job weeding, so I did a little bit more today. We've got 2 hostas. They're a little bit different types, as you can see by the coloring. And then this is a Russian, I can't remember, it's a Russian something, but that did really well last year. And then this guy right here is my Michelle plant. It's a rhododendron, I think. Yeah, and I don't think we're gonna do any, oh, there's one guy. Okay, I don't think we're gonna do any annuals back here this year. Last year we did marigolds, but they didn't do that well with the beetles. This is our wildflower patch. Not a whole lot going on right now. We just put the seeds down, and then this is fun because we finally pulled the trigger and we got a couple of blackberry bushes. So I don't think we'll get any blackberries this year, but that will be fun. Then this is our new tree that we just bought today. So it's a red oak. So we picked him out, got him all planted, watered. So we're hoping he does well. For our trees, we do the bucket watering method, which worked out really well. Last year, you put a stake right into the roots, and then you notch the bucket over it, and it like glugs down. So this is our pin oak. Planted him last year too. He's been doing the best of all the trees we planted last year, just because he's a little bit shorter and it gets so windy. And look, we already have a caterpillar chrysalis on him, so I hope that that does well. Again, the beetles kind of hit him hard last year, so hoping we don't have that problem again. Then this guy's our swamp oak. He gets the most windswept for sure. We took his stick off and we're gonna stake him now, but yeah, he's looking pretty good too. And I'll just show the one for now, but we did some zinnias and marigolds. We got 4 pots of them just around the front of our house. Last year we planted them right in the ground, but again, they just didn't do very well. And we have this rock stuff, which I think we will eventually get rid of, but for now it is here. Oh, I can show you one more thing. We got another tree at a farmer's market, which is very exciting. So this is sorry about the car noise, but this is a black walnut, so we'll need to plant him as well. Let's check on Ryan in the back garden. Olive, is that your favorite spot? You look so sad.